Okay, this leather sheath has been wet fitted to this Italian stiletto knife, and I'll tell you how I did it. And you can see here it has really good retention when you put it in this way. It kind of snaps into place because it was wet formed around that part that protrudes on the knife. Put it in this way, not as much retention. So you have two options. You have an option where you can store it with a lot of retention and an option with less retention, which is always good. So what I did was I simply first of all, I put two condoms on the knife to protect it from moisture. Then I wrapped it with tape. And this is the second time I did it. I wrapped it with tape with paper underneath. And this was once it was dry to do the final fitting to kind of stretch it out a little bit more to make it, just the right amount of retention. So you experiment with the amount that you wrap around the knife and force it in there to kind of stretch it out to get your retention the way you want it. So you start with less retention, in other words, less wrapped around the knife, and then you just add a little bit more to do the final fitting. So again, when I did the first stretching, if you will, I totally soaked it with hot water, totally soaked it. That made it pliable and soft. It comes from Etsy. Here's the Etsy listing. It comes from Etsy very stiff, okay? So you're not going to stretch it or mold it with it stiff. So you have to totally soak it, and then you put the knife in, again, protected by the condoms and some tape around the condoms so they don't tear. And then you can basically let it sit for 24 hours and let it form to the knife. And then you do the final fitting with a little bit more wrapped around the knife until you get the tension exactly the way you want it. And again, each time you do that, you leave the knife in for 6, 8, 10 hours at least to let it form to the knife. I hope this is helpful.